people I'll be working with, what they like.
Standard nerds!
You're listening to Comics Podcasting on the edge of civility.
Well, here's the thing.
What's the thing?
Ben Grimm.
Oh, I want a glass.
It's episode 72.
Oh, thank God we recorded that. Oh, what the?
Of course I set you up for that. I don't do a whole lot of forward thinking on the jokes.
Or in life.
Well, no, I do plenty of forward thinking in life. I do no forward execution.
All right, fair enough.
I don't. There's a glowing dick on the screen
It's a candle.
with wings off of it. Why are there wings on a dick? That's. I don't know.
You need to explain right now.
We're watching Spartacus, Blood and Sand, and apparently there's some. I'm assuming it's a fertility ritual, and they have a penis shape and a dead girl. Wasn't expecting that at all. Well, all right, we're gonna go away and not talk about the candle penis
anymore.
So we're done with that. So you did something interesting this weekend that I, for once, was not able to get along with. To go.
Yes,
wasn't
I
doing
saw
it.
a
Tell
movie.
me all about the supreme non-badness that was
Sucker Punch. It sucked.
I don't like that idea.
No, it was really bad.
I want that many hot chicks in one movie to be phenomenal.
Ugh. The whole concept is based around a girl who kills her sister, accidentally trying to shoot the stepfather who's about to rape the sister after not being able to rape her, being put in an insane asylum and being given, wait for it, a frontal lobotomy.
Great.
So then she crashes into some weird 40s style realm where whenever she dances she hypnotizes people. But every time she dances, instead she goes into this fantasy world where she's slowly adventuring while Scott Glenn says really stupid shit.
Who?
Scott Glenn.
Who's that?
The actor.
Okay.
Silence of the Lambs.
Which part?
He was the FBI.
Oh, okay. That guy. All right. Very good. Is that the wise man I've read about in the reviews?
But he says brilliantly wise things like, how should I put this? Don't let your ass write checks that your mouth can't, or don't let your mouth write checks that your ass can't cash. That's the wisdom.
Wow. Wisdom. Save that one for the fucking ages. Okay. And then, what about the other girls?
Well, the other girls are all in the 40s realm, but then they start joining her as she attempts to escape from the whorehouse that she lives in the 40s period.
Okay.
They join her in her quest, so then they show up in her fantasy thing, and then they slowly disappear as they die.
They die?
Oh, yes, there's a lot of death.
I don't want hot chicks to die.
And at the end, she realizes that the story isn't about her, but a different girl, so she lets the other girl escape and ends up having the lobotomy.
I'm having a hard time processing this.
But then the girl escapes, and Scott Glenn is the helpful bus driver who helps her escape.
Right. Did I tell you about Battle LA? Because I'm thinking that was better than Sucker Punch.
I'm thinking there's piles of dookie that cats have left in the yard that is better than Sucker Punch.
Alright, so having established that is shit. We're not really setting the precedent that this year is going to be a good movie year, because I got roped into seeing Battle LA, which I was certain I didn't want to see. But no. Cabo and Danger Dave just had to go see it. Now, I've read a review just a couple days ago that made me had a slightly different perspective on it.
Okay.
But I still would not recommend it to anybody who is looking for logic or plot in their alien invasion movies. If all you're looking for is shit being blown up,
Enjoy.
go to town. You know, if you're a Michael Bay fan, this flick's yours.
Shit will explode.
Now, the thing that irritated me most about that is not only did they take this premise and use it in V 26 years ago,
And last year,
but they didn't. There was no great revelation. We think they were there for that because a news guy theorized it on television during the attack. Yeah, figured that one out. Now, this is a race who thinks nothing of developing hyperspace, leaving their planet, and going God knows how many hundreds of light years away to steal water. Water. Which, we are told, is the fuel for their ships. So they've got enough fuel to get across all these light years to steal it from another planet. They've got hyperspace, which must mean they have fusion or at least fission, but they can't bond hydrogen and oxygen themselves.
well, it seems tricky.
It seems freaking stupid. Now, there are a lot of cliches running around this thing. Like, my last mission, all my guys died. Now everybody thinks it's my fault, and I can't send young men into combat anymore.
Oh, dear God.
I'm retiring. And there's something to be said to have any kind of backstory to a character, but that one's kind of used up, I want to say.
Just a tad. Well, you know what? I mean, as you enjoy the phrase tropes,
I do. I like that phrase very much.
you know, they're everywhere. It sounds like a gem, though.
No, it's totally not. There's the angry young soldier whose brother was in the squad that the guy was leading, and now he's dead, so he's got a grudge against the guy who's leading them now. And there's the new lieutenant who can't figure anything out. And
Wow, it's literally Heartbreak Ridge.
Yeah! And the aliens, while interesting,
Because they're aliens.
were far too hard to kill.
How dare they be? How dare they be?
They expended thousands of rounds. More rounds than this little squad of Marines could carry around by themselves without a truck or a vehicle or a fucking hand cart or something. Thousands of rounds. And every freaking battle just kept going. I mean, they wouldn't stop. I mean, it was fight, 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 move a little bit, fight, 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 fire, fire. I mean, they should have melted the barrels right off of their weapons with all the fire they were doing, man. It was insanity. And they got to go and rescue some people from a police station, along with some cops, because they're about to carpet bomb the entirety of Santa Barbara, because they just don't have any other way to fight them. So they're on this rescue mission. So the whole time they're fighting, it's like the reverse of Left 4 Dead. You're not trying to get away to rescue. You are the rescue trying to get to the survivors trapped. It's like the police station is the last safe house.
Oh, okay.
So, rescue mission. It's not a bad premise. Somebody's got to be rescued. Poor Bridget Moynihan. She was there to react to stuff. She didn't get any good lines. Nothing. It was just, it went on and on and on and on. Poor Michelle Rodriguez. And at the end, they had the noble last stand, and somehow they overcame, and it was just largely disgusting. The aliens were kind of interesting, but their weapons just made absolutely no fucking sense. And you know me, I want weapons to make sense.
Yes.
I don't care if they're
you
over
aspire
the
to a
top.
certain level of logic.
I don't care if a weapon can blow up a planet, as long as it looks like it can blow up a planet. And
So if they drove up in a Death Star, you'd be okay.
well, they're gonna drove up, but we know the Death Star's reactor is about the size of this state.
Oh dear God.
So it's got.
You know that.
No, I'm not. It's not. Okay. I'm just saying it's huge.
So, but you do know the actual size.
No, I'm just saying it's tremendous. That's all I'm saying.
I stand in doubt of this conversation.
Where was I? I'm just saying it's huge. That's all. I'm just saying the Death Star reactor is tremendous. You saw they were flying at it, how tremendous it was in relation to the size of the ships. So you figure if anything's got enough juice to blow up an entire planet, it would probably be that. However, these guys were shooting missiles not out of round holes like you would expect, like tubes.
Right.
They were shooting them out of louvers. Louvers that would glow tremendously with this incredible wine, warning anyone in its way that death and destruction was coming at them.
Yeesh.
And then it would release it was like watching Robotech. They had so many missiles in this one little tiny fucking mech. I mean, like dinky, like the size of your truck mech.
That's crazy.
And it was dozens of missiles coming out of that thing. I'm like, where the fuck are they making those missiles? Why are the holes the missiles coming out of a louver that's fucking square like a heat register in a house? What are you doing to me?
That's craziness.
It is. Anything else you want to talk about?
Well, we've done movies. We've got a giant pile of books to look forward to. You had any geeky business of late?
Yeah, no. Actually, I finished Strike Force Morituri.
Okay. So
I got, as you listeners know, I got the first 12 issues at Emerald City Comic Con. I knocked out the last one 2 days ago. I was shocked at how enjoyable it was, even after 24 years.
Nice. Well, I promise you I'd take a look at it.
Some of the dialogue was, you knew it came right out of the mid-'80s, because there was at least 6 panels in every single issue that explained exactly who they were, what their purpose was, and all that stuff. It was very talky, dude. It had a lot of text in it.
Well, like I was saying before the podcast, a lot of the stuff I'm sentimental about is not necessarily great. You know, I love Suicide Squad, as you know, and it is not a book that you're like, wow, that's one of the all-time beacons of awesomeness.
Beacons of awesomeness. 12 minutes in, got our title.
Yeah, I usually fire off about 4 title options, so.
That's great.
But, yeah, you know, you love those kind of books. The little things. To me, like, that is where being a geek and being a fan really exist. Anybody, I don't care if you like comics or don't like comics, can read Watchmen and be impressed.
Oh, sure.
You know, anybody can read Mouse and be impressed.
Right.
It's finding little hidden gems, like Justice League Europe 6. You know, the single book issue, or for me, the Heckler, 6 issues of absolute ridiculousness by Keith Giffen.
Absolute ridiculousness.
Like, that's what I enjoy. Those little moments, you know, that's what being a fan's all about. That's what going through the dollar boxes is. And that's what people who don't do that don't experience.
Right. And that's what we try to bring to the world.
By pissing on
being
everything
us.
else.
Well, you know, the crap's the crap. And you got to define. You eventually, of course, have to decide for yourself if the crap is crap.
Yeah, you know what? Because you hate a lot of the crap I enjoy. I hate a lot of the crap.
Absolutely,
you keep bringing me
right.
Star Wars comics. You own Buck Rogers in comics form. You know, I read the Heckler.
No, it's all about taste, and it always,
Trencher.
It always has been. All right. Now, you know that Trencher is just dookie. I mean, on an absolute level, it got published strictly on the strength of Giffen's name. That's it.
That's such a big, powerful name to be dropping out.
Well, when Trencher came out,
it still wasn't.
So it was sheer luck on top of all that shit.
Got published because it was good.
You consider it good, and that's the point of this conversation right now. That's the whole point. We can all have views, and they can be opposed. But whereas a soccer fan will kick you in the fucking balls for it, don't you talk about my West Ham.
Arsenal.
The thing about Arsenal is they always try to walk it in.
Whatever the fuck that even means.
Ask the guy from the IT crowd.
Yeah,
I don't know. But we're all together in this. We can find a book that we all agree on, and then we can all move out and go have our fun with
Sandman.
each of our own things. Sure. I don't know anybody who didn't like Sandman. They may not have been like, oh my god, I have to like get all goth and put the things on my eyes, and I have to talk.
Or
in
early
very
Claremont X-Men.
right, that too.
That
too. Very few. I know no one who wouldn't say, wow, that was good shit.
Yep, the Paul Smith art.
Absolutely right. So, we're a community, despite the fact that we piss each other off.
Yeah, it's true.
And that's why I love going to cons, man. That's why we're going back to New York again this year. That's why we're going to Connecticut. That's why we're going to Comic-Con with the 2 N's, which is the dumbest phrase ever. Like, anyone who outside of this state has any idea that CONN used to be the postal abbreviation for Connecticut, and therefore it's appropriate to call it Comic-Con. Nobody knows that. There are people who are going to go to that show and not know that. Who live in this state, have always lived in this state, have been born in this state. But you know what? It's a con. So we're going.
Dear Lord.
Excuse me. You ready to talk about some books?
Yeah, what do we got?
Oh, we got some Cap.
All right.
Stupid Sin.
Not a
What
big
a
Sin fan?
doofus woman she is, man.
You
She
were
is
enjoying
absolutely she is batshit loco.
Well, that's the whole point.
Well, yeah. And, they got Doc... Whoa, what's going on that screen there? Holy shit, the big, huge guy came back to life. And he's fighting him the exact same way he was fighting him in the last scene when he got killed. So, guess what's going to happen now? He'll get killed again. This is Spartacus, Blood and Sand, by the way, kids.
You
just
mentioned
so you
that
know.
before.
Well, we might have switched. It's
So,
happened.
you enjoyed Sin when she was teamed up with Crossbones in the earlier Brubaker.
Sure, when she didn't look like her pop.
Well, that kind of thing has to happen occasionally.
It does so totally not have to happen. You don't have to make somebody so batshit loco that they rip off their own face. It's not strictly necessary.
Admittedly, that was one of the more disgusting elements I can consider for the day.
But they tried to sabotage the court case by having some nuthatch show up with a gun, screaming, Captain America, Uber alles,
Right.
which nobody would have believed. Even if he did succeed in shooting somebody, nobody would have believed that. And there goes the standard, I'm going to pull your sword into me so I can get closer and stare you in the face and kill you with my halitosis. Or headbutt you.
Well, one equals the other, really.
Yeah, I suppose so. Oof. And then I'm going to pull the thing out myself and beat you with it. Alright, this battle's going on a little bit long for a guy we already thought was dead.
That's the whole point, man. So,
Kinda
returning
like
to Sin.
Battle LA. I don't mind having a generational effect going on there, but she's crazy. And Red Skull was crazy.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Red Skull wasn't crazy.
Well, Red Skull was very smart crazy, and
she's just batshit loco.
yeah.
Now, the thing is, she did this after, as far as I know. I'll take a correction if it happens.
Yeah.
But didn't she do that after Cap's son did it in Ultimate Avengers?
Yes.
Yeah. So
To my recollection.
yeah, so it kind of smacks of That's a good idea.
Well, there's always a little repetition in these things.
Well, sure, a bit. I mean, actually, there's quite a bit in some instances, like, going back to Cap again, lost in time, same as Batman. Okay, buddy. We'll see what you got. And then, finally, the storyline's over next issue, as Bucky finally confronts Sin directly.
Because she's about to blow up.
Everything.
Yeah, the Statue of Liberty, Bucky's best friend other than Cap, and...
Who would be Falcon, right? That's
Falcon
a lot of blood on
and
the
his
screen.
girl.
Sharon Carter?
Nope. The other one.
Who?
Black Widow.
Ah, yes. Bucky's girl.
Right, well, that's what we were discussing.
Well, I mean, it was up in the air. I mean, because I said Falcon, and then you said his girl. So it could have been Falcon's girl.
Which is not Sharon Carter.
Right, which is why I put the question mark on
You're
there.
just confusing the
because it
crap out of me
also
right now.
could have been Cap's girl.
Just a babbling fool.
I don't get. Let's move on. So, Ultimate Captain America 3. Aaron's got me a little bit hooked here.
I'm enjoying this book. I like there were certain aspects of it. When the little superpowered kid was asking about Justin Bieber. When Nuke was basically making fun of Cap for not knowing what Darfur even was.
He is a man out of time, so why wouldn't he rub that shit in his face?
Garney's art is amazing. The storyline is amazing.
Man.
It's,
I am so
well,
impressed
let me be
with
fair.
Ron right now.
I'm enjoying the storyline, but the art is amazing. Like this is the best Garney since the first Cap run, as far as I'm concerned.
Absolutely. Well, I didn't see a lot of the Wolverine stuff he did, so I can't totally make that.
Yeah, well, of what I've seen, fair enough, because I'm not overly familiar with the Wolverine stuff either.
Well, I enjoyed the shit out of it. I really did. If they kept that ongoing, I would stick around until at least, old Aaron left there. Now, the only thing, the other thing we had left out of the bag.
We have the whole bag still.
Well, we do have the bag. It was out of the bag.
Oh, I see.
Casanova, Matt Fraction and Gabriel Ba. Got it signed.
Yes,
Got
you
it
did.
free. Thank you very much, Matt.
Matt
I know
is
you're not
awesome.
listening, but we do enjoy you nonetheless. This was a strange book.
You know, you are the bigger Matt Fraction fan than I am, which is saying something because I really enjoy Matt Fraction, but you adore everything the guy does. This is the very definition of a Rev book, though. We've got crazy spy antics, weird supervillains. There's some strange time travel, freaky twins. Like this was not designed with the Tech Jedi in mind. No.
No, but I enjoyed it nonetheless.
It's a fun book.
Although I am concerned about a healthcare professional who takes home laughing gas and various other drugs for recreational purposes.
Dude, if I were a health professional, that's the only reason I'd be a health professional. Oh, look, someone bled on me again. That's going to cost you some Percocet. I'm sorry, did you just throw up on me? Oh, there's no morphine left for you, buddy. There's not a drug in the world that would allow me to let somebody vomit on me on a regular basis. So that's the only part that really rang true to me in this book.
But it's definitely a fun romp.
Yeah, no, it's a very talky book.
Yes, it absolutely is.
I'm very curious where it will go from there because, it's like madcap action and talkiness at the same time, which is a unique combination.
And then boobies.
Okay.
More healthcare professionalism. I like it.
Healthcare lack of professionalism.
Oh, yes. Well, there is that. What else have I read lately? The incredibly confusing and unfortunately, because this is another Fraction book, the unfortunately forgettable Thor 620.
Well, I still enjoy this book, and this one was it was very much a battle scene one, where you've got the giant red guys with their uber weapons. You had Odin and Thor kicking ass in the last one. Now this is the red guys coming back and kicking some ass back. Ass back.
Ass back. Our back. Get it? Back. Our back.
Lord.
Get it?
Shoot.
I spent a drunk night in 1994 listening to Andrew Dice Clay say that for 20 fucking minutes, laughing so hard I thought I was going to fucking puke. I have not heard it since. I have no idea if it could possibly hold up again.
I'm sure it doesn't.
Maybe not, but it's been 17, 18 years. It just might. Ooh. Yeah, and that's what happened. Big red guys fighting and kicking ass in return.
No, it's not a terrible book in any way. I still really enjoy Fraction's take on this. This particular one, you know, there's not a lot of plot development. There's some blood rain. The weird girl who fell in love with a mortal and hasn't really recovered since, but continues to be a major plot point.
Yeah.
Is holding some stuff. You know, there's some things going on, but it's really very much, you know, building. And we find out the red guys are badass, which we kind of figured because they're large and they're red and they've killed everything they've run into before this. You know, so there were clues.
I want to know what an Asgardian blood legion is. I've never heard of that.
It just sounds horrifying.
It does. It sounds like they'll rip your balls off, souffle them, and then feed them to the dogs.
I don't believe they brought cooking into it.
They might have. Or they feed it to the dogs raw after they rip them out with their own tongue.
Why? Whenever you find anything frightening, you immediately assume they want to cook your balls. Like, why is that the first place you go to?
Because that is one of the most frightening things I can imagine.
Balls souffle?
Having my balls cooked is an absolute terrifying concept.
You're a weird dude.
You're weirder. Lame-o.
You say, I know which beer is mine.
Why aren't you drinking it?
It's empty.
That one's yours.
Yes.
Why is mine way over there? You suck. You know, we got to do more of this banter thing. Because I listened to 5 podcasts in the last 4 days. And they spent 20 minutes. Didn't talk about a comic till it was like a half hour in. I'm like, dude, I downloaded you to hear fucking comic books. I didn't want to hear about how your basement is no longer sealed because of the fucking rain.
That wacky rain.
I was done with that. I was like, no more Secret Identity cast. Oops, wasn't supposed to say that. We'll cover that one up. Batman Incorporated 3, where they move,
El Gaucho.
Well, they move off to the Falklands. Really? The Falklands? Do they need a Batman in the Falklands?
Apparently.
For superheroic sheep purposes?
Apparently they don't, because they slaughter this entire team. Including what would have been my favorite superhero of all time, Captain Carnation. Complete with eye patch.
You so would not have liked that. Oh, we're introduced to
Cheerio, mates. Pip, pip.
We're introduced to the Gaucho. And as much as I applaud the attempt at atmosphere and flavor that Morrison is trying to throw into the book, the large swaths of what's either Spanish or Portuguese do not fucking impress me.
Well, they might be impressive since I don't know what they're fucking saying.
That's what I'm saying. The Gaucho.
The Gaucho. El Gaucho.
El Gaucho, the Argentinian superhero, coming in with his silly little mask and his ribbons coming off the back of his head, which are just begging to get caught in something, and then smacked around.
Now, who does El Gaucho look like to you?
El Gaucho looks a little bit like Bullet.
A little bit. I was thinking El Aguilar from Power Man and Iron
Oh, wow!
with the little bandana over the head.
It also kind of reminds you, with the except for the mustache and the sheer monumental size of the guy, it also reminds you a little bit of Iron Fist there.
Well, that's mostly just the mask, but
The ribbon in the mask.
Yeah, I mean, El Aguilar is definitely where I went.
Why are blue scorpions so nasty?
I don't know, but if I
What's
saw
so
one,
important
I'd run
that
like
they're
a baby.
Blue scorpions.
I'm just saying, dude. You know, if I was surrounded by blue scorpions, I would turn into a baby monkey and just sort of cringe there and hope that YouTube viewing would save me. They seem horrifying. Scorpions should not be color coded.
And while I do appreciate seeing a woman tango, I'd much rather see it live, because in comics it just doesn't have any kind of sensuality to it. It's just poses.
Well, you know what? There's a lot happening. She was actually trying to kill you, Batman. It's just
Like
every
I
other
didn't
Morrison
know that.
book. There's a lot that happens in between, like, panels.
Well, sure. And sooner or later, an Ouroboros had to come into play. That's another thing. I was having a conversation the other day with Dalton, and something cropped up on the TV, and I was like, you know what? That's the kind of crap you never, ever, ever, ever see outside of literary or entertainment. You never hear blah blah outside of literature, outside of movies, outside of TV or poems, or English 101 or some crazy shit like that.
Right.
Things like buttonwood trees, gillyflowers, pantaloons, ringlets. I cannot tell you how many science fiction books I've read where the guy wanted to get across that the woman had a certain type of hair and the word ringlet came out. No one I've ever met in 40 fucking years of existence has ever said the word ringlet out loud talking about hair. I've been going to the same female hairdresser for 17 years. She's cut my hair 5-6 times a year. There's always women waiting to get their hair done when I'm in the shop. I've never heard anyone say ringlet. Sonia, I'd like ringlets. Those would be great. The little circular things coming down the hair. Ringlets, they're fucking beautiful.
Well,
Never heard of it. And you know what? Fucking Morrison and his Ouroboros, nobody talks about an Ouroboros outside of fucking literature. The snake eating its tail. Oh, there's so many opportunities for that in everyday conversation. But you know what? Open a fucking book. It's important.
Yeah, there's a very famous fantasy novel by E.R. Edison called The Worm Oberus.
Well,
It's book
sure
one of a
there is.
3-book series. So we have Batman trying to recruit El Gaucho.
And El Gaucho saying, nah, that's okay. We'll do a mission or two together against Luca Libre, but nah, I don't really want to deal with it. So, we got to find out next month what happens when he deals with Luca Libre. And that's Batman Inc. Where is this bringing us?
I don't really love Batman Inc. It started off interestingly and is slowly backsliding to no thank you.
Yeah, pretty much. How long is he going to hang around on this one? 9,
Probably
10
2-3
issues?
issues. Well, all right. Morrison, you mean?
Yeah, Morrison.
I don't know. I just, get Dick Grayson out of the Batman uniform. Get Bucky out of the Cap uniform. Just stop fucking with me with this crap.
Well, they can leave the two of them as they are. Just give the originals better shit to work with.
No, you can't. Don't. Batman is Batman. Bruce Wayne is not going to be successful as Batman Senior.
Batman Senior.
I'm not interested in that, and I'm certainly not interested in Steve Rogers' Super Soldier.
What the hell was that?
That's what I assume comes after you say that. Some sort of Mortimer Snurd noise.
Steve Rogers, Super Soldier.
See, you got it. It flows.
And then he came out and he kicked Hydra's ass.
I love that you're the only person I know who knows who Mortimer Snurd is.
There's got to be one more besides my dad. Wow. Oh. What about the very fun and very good-looking New Avengers 10, 1959.
I love that.
Chaykin. Fucking Chaykin.
Not even that, dude. I just love the team.
It's a great team.
Let's get Nick Fury, Dum Dum Dugan, Kraven the Hunter, the original Silver Sable, Dominic Fortune. It's like having a Revgasm. I mean,
Revgasm. Wow. And then you have Chaykin do the art on it, and you're just like,
I mean, what? Good God! Even the people that they throw Namora
did you
in there.
wait till you finished the book before you changed your shorts, or
I'm very zen.
that's a no?
I want this book. I want to read the 1959 Avengers.
I don't have a problem with that.
I love Dominic Fortune. I may be the only person on Earth who can say that with a straight face, but
I don't mind Dominic Fortune. We
I
read
don't
that
know
miniseries
Ulysses
last
Bloodstone,
year, and it was
though.
fun. Huh?
I do not know Ulysses Bloodstone though. All I know is that there was the Bloodstone. I don't know if that was related to that because I never read it. But
I don't remember because that was like 94, and I haven't read it since. And I've got most of those, so I mean, it could be, sure.
But Ulysses Bloodstone I didn't recognize. Namora, unfortunately, I knew all too well. And they threw Sabretooth in there, but that happens. What are you gonna do?
Well, Sabretooth is 20,000 years old, just like Wolverine. So, it ends up being all the same. There's so much blood in this TV show.
Yep.
So, they throw
This is like a dream.
They throw a perfectly good curveball. They throw a curveball into a perfectly good scene of Chaykin insanity by going off into Barrington, Rhode Island, where they have to fight Superior.
And Mockingbird is dying because Doctor Strange isn't that good a doctor anymore.
Well, I mean, not without his equipment and his tools and his medicine and his.
Dude, by the hoary hosts of Hoggoth, he ought to be able to.
See, he's got to calm that shit down. That's what got him into not being, Doctor Strange to begin with.
He's always been strange. He just isn't Sorcerer Supreme anymore. But now that Baron Samdi's evil twin brother Voodoo has gone bye-bye, who is the Sorcerer Supreme?
But you know what? The dialogue between Jessica Jones and fucking Power Man Luke Cage, it's just so much fun. I'd rather you swore than said jokers. Really? Come on, Jess.
You carried a truck 7 blocks?
Well, it seemed the efficient way to do it.
No, it's
I've never had my license. I mean,
right now I enjoy the new Avengers and I enjoy Avengers. Secret, on the other hand, is rough.
Secret is hard. Secret is hard to deal with. But yeah, new and unadjectived, shitload of fun. Peter J. Tomasi and Patrick Gleason taking over Batman and Robin. Yeah, I thought it was kind of non-impressive.
Well,
but
here's
they did so well on Green Lantern Corps, though.
But here's my issue: is that I've got this weird angel fetish thing going on in the book. Okay, that's creepy. The glowing, the bright. Like, stop with the super-powered Batman villains. Like, when did that become necessary?
Well,
Like, I like the fact that he's preying on families of Arkham Asylum inmates.
Yes,
like,
that is a pretty good twist.
Yeah, it's creepy, it's weird, and he kills off the entire Tetch family, which means we got some Mad Hatter vengeance coming, which should be awesome.
I hope so. It's been a long time since we've seen Jervis running around.
Yeah, hopefully he'll pull out a baker's hat and grow a handlebar mustache and be truly rockin' Mad Hatter cool. And there's another possible title for you.
Rockin' Mad Hatter cool? Oh, but it is awesome. That twist right there is really good. But, yeah, give me some criminals, dude. I just want basic criminals.
Yeah, dude, they're all weird and creepy, that's fine, but enough of this freaking...
The last 4 years of Batman and his related books have been so twacked the fuck out that it's, even for me, it's hard to say I still like Batman books. I mean, obviously, I still like Batman himself, sure. I mean, that's not gonna fucking change. That's in the DNA at this point. It's been 30 fucking years. But I want my Dark Knight by Finch, because that had the most promise of anything that's come out in like 4 fucking years now. And it's still, number 2 still isn't out yet.
Yep.
What is going on here? Just, if you're going to solicit a book, make sure you're ready to print the fucking thing.
No, there's some flaws in the whole Batman over right now.
Over?
Over. Let's call the whole thing off.
You're the one, yeah, pretty much. You took the French classes, you tell me.
Yeah, I failed those.
You have failed for the last time. You will now graduate and leave me alone. Terrible.
Yes.
But
really, really bad.
our new friend Chris Roberson is really, really good, however.
You know what? Cinderella versus Dorothy Gale is the fight of the century.
Awesome.
I never expected to want
That
to
is
see.
so freaking cool. Dorothy Gale being like the world's top assassin.
And did you figure it out? Like, I was sitting there with silver slippers, because I always think
I
ruby
totally
slippers
didn't.
because of the movie.
It totally blew by me. I'm like, I did think about it several times, and I'm like, silver slippers, silver, really?
That's what they were in the book
Yes, this because you read the book
years ago. But yes,
yeah, but you had this didactic, mimetic, polycybernetic fucking memory for things you've read in books. And
true. Whereas I can't remember where you work after how many years now?
as long as you've read it on a page, you pretty much have it. Whereas I watch a movie and I pretty much have it. See, we complement each other. It's a terrible, horrible, useless, geekified talent to be having, but it works.
Right.
So, Dorothy Gale, it's amazing. How did she end up? They did give her a backstory, didn't you?
Not in the first one, no.
No. I can't wait. I want to read the rest of it. And, you know, what was it? Sean McManus? Good art.
Yeah, no, it's a fun book. I didn't read the full first Cinderella miniseries. I know you were a big fan of it.
because I didn't get, because I couldn't find number 3. Kind of pissed me off.
Fair enough.
But I will be watching carefully for Fables Are Forever. Absolutely right. If for no other reason than Chrissy Zuli's covers.
Enjoyed that, did you?
Yeah. I didn't have any books for her to sign, though.
No?
No, she was at Emerald City, and I kept passing by, and I'm like, I don't know anything else, so I can't go box diving to go find something for her. And it feels stupid to go, what books have you got done that I can go find and you come back and make you sign?
It's very tricky.
That would have been terrible.
But the trick is, it's very hard to walk backwards while they're in line and see what everybody's holding. Like, that's challenging, you know?
But that could be interesting.
Yeah, well, you know, you might make a new friend. Right, where are we at?
So we got a little bit of a rebirth here with Sigil number 1 from the new cross-gen imprint over at Marvel.
Sigil.
Yeah?
Yeah,
No. You don't like superpowered pirates?
you know, that part was the one splash page at the end, like, arrgh. Like, yes. But teenage girl drama, passing out while she's discovering her powers from her weird birthmark that her dead mother left her. No. Been there, done that. I never read the original Sigil.
Neither did I.
But this felt a lot like Witchblade.
A lot like Witchblade.
And I don't like me no Witchblade.
And to a small extent, a bit of Buffy. And there's just so many young girls coming into power stories. I just don't care about that anymore. Just, you know, if you're going to have a woman, have a woman. Have her some other origin besides what you've already done. don't care.
I'm born with a powerful mark. No.
Wonk,
no.
wonk, wonk.
I mean, you know, but to be fair, like, I can't say anything against the creative team because for all I know, this is
you know.
That's what Sigil's about. Like, you know, I don't know. So
No, it's totally what Sigil's about. But the point being, come on. Give me something else to work with. Well, what is it with Marvel Comics and lots of silence for pages upon pages this past month?
Well, you had 2 death books that are almost exactly the same. Where
Yeah, that kind of worried me. I mean, what was it? Amazing Spider-Man was 655, and Fantastic Four is 5. A whole lot of nothing. And you know, I'm down with the atmospheric stuff as much as anybody else, but I got nothing.
you know, it was just if you're gonna do one book like that, don't do 2.
Yes.
You know,
2 in 1 month was excessive.
both of them were emotional in their own way. I thought that the Fantastic Four, as much as I prefer the Spider-Man book, the Fantastic Four was more emotional with the end with Spider-Man and the uncle speech. But you had, you know, the weird moment of Thing bashing against the Hulk and the Hulk letting him until he calmed down.
Yeah.
You know, there were some powerful images in that one. And then the uncle speech really rang well, so it was a well-written book.
It did.
Spider-Man, on the other hand, went mute. I loved the classic-style art.
Yes. I was just thinking that myself. Marcos Martin is doing a great job bringing back a Silver Agey feel to, without having to deal with his teenagerness.
Yeah, like some sort of Ditko/Steranko.
Yeah, exactly right.
But, you know, then suddenly we get a damn dream sequence where there's more guilt, and no one will ever die again because I love spiders.
Yeah.
What? No!
That is such an excessive promise.
And when did he kill somebody?
He didn't kill anybody. He wasn't there to save somebody again.
No,
and he's headed up to fucking
I thought he
here
punched
with
Wolverine's friend. In the book he's talking
this
about
one?
Yes.
In 655.
Yes, he's talking about some friend of Wolverine's that he got conned into hitting till she died.
Wait, when was that in the
I don't know when it happened, but they discuss it in the book.
Keep talking while I find it.
Oh, good. Yeah, that'll come in handy. It's the middle of the dream sequence. You know, he gets through everybody else and all the weird identifying dead characters from Spider-Man, and the bodies that surround Spider-Man is basically like Spartacus. So there are quite a few corpses, and then at the end he talks to the one girl, which is some friend of Wolverine's that he apparently murdered.
Where? I'm
It's
Wolverine's
after-
friend, the woman you killed.
Yeah, there you go.
Oksana Ezekiel. We're gonna have
No,
to
those
look.
are other people.
Pardon me, Oksana Ezekiel.
You know who?
You don't remember me, do you? Sorry, should I? I'm Wolverine's friend. The woman
You're
you
literally
killed.
reading the book out loud right now.
Charlie. You're the one. The only life I've ever taken. I tried to forget you. I really did. I don't remember the motherfucker.
Plus, it's Peter Parker. If he actually killed someone, every single page of the book would be like, "Oh my god, I'm a monster."
Yes, every thought bubble. There would be thought bubbles on every single fucking panel talking about I failed everyone in the universe.
Yeah, no.
No, when did that happen?
I don't know. That's why I asked you, and then you started reading things.
Wolverine. I'm gonna have to look that up. You know, Peter Parker killed Charlie. What? Who? Who the fuck is Charlie?
Because I want to know who wrote it. Because who's like, yeah, let's have Spider-Man kill somebody. That'll give him some good
That
guilt.
was not something. You know what? I'm tired of talking about books. I want to talk about this article.
Okay.
It happens.
No, it generally doesn't, but hey.
I'm tired of talking about books.
What article is this?
This is yet another crib from Topless Robot.
Awesome
And
topless
we
robot.
are shamelessly stealing their material.
Because it's good material.
But we're going to put our own spin on it. This is 10 major comic events that actually matter.
Okay, what do we got?
Well, to start with, and I gotta say, it has had far-ranging impact. And many things that happened then are still not strictly important, but we understand that we know where they came from because of Secret Wars.
Okay.
We know the black suit of Spider-Man. A defining episode of Colossus's life is when he cheated on Kitty on the Battle World. And nobody can forget Doom taking the Beyonder's powers. And it had far-ranging consequences. I mean, Venom, of all fucking things, is started up here. So,
I don't know, really.
did you read?
There's a lot. I've never read it. There's a lot of epicness to it, but other than the black costume, most of that stuck around for a grand total of 4 minutes.
But everybody remembers it well, is what it is. People who have read that, they see, they're like, oh my goodness gracious, black costume. Yeah, but remember when the Hulk held up that mountain? All kinds of craziness. Remember when Peter was so down on himself because he cheated with that alien chick?
Well, come on, that's the only Peter I do remember.
Well, sure. Crisis on Infinite Earths 7. Death?
Well, Crisis on Infinite Earth. Now, that's a one...
Well, that's the whole thing.
Right,
Yes,
that had
the whole
huge
story.
impact.
That, I mean, it was...
That's the definitive to me.
It was the Etch-a-Sketch end of DC Comics.
Yep. They took out the Flash.
They took out the Flash, they took out Supergirl,
Yeah, but
they
you were...
took out
Fuck Supergirl.
hundreds of other totally unimportant characters.
But, you know what? Say Supergirl had her own book, blah, blah, blah. You know, she was a side entity that didn't entirely make sense by that point.
Yeah,
The
she
Flash
was totally lost.
was a player for years. Like, to me, that's huge.
Yeah, I agree. That's tremendous.
Yeah.
It's huge. Blah, blah, blah.
Blah, blah, blah.
blah, blah.
Blah, blah.
The Infinity Gauntlet.
I love the Infinity Gauntlet.
I am going to have to reread it because I don't remember crap about the series itself other than what the hell are the Infinity Gems?
Oh, dude. I gave you all 6, man.
I did not-
Excellent read. You have the full run. So.
I know, and I did previously too.
Oh, so you have them twice.
Yeah. I just don't remember it because it happened in like 92, 93. So, now that's something with consequences for you. We got poor Parker Robbins floating around, who, as you noted a couple of episodes ago, has such incredible luck he could get kicked out of a plane, land on marshmallows, roll over, and just land on top of a girl and have sex.
Yes. Yeah.
If you remember.
Yes, it does sound familiar.
Now, Parker Robbins got the Infinity Gems, so they're floating around. A main staple of the Illuminati concept was dealing with the Infinity Gems and the Gauntlet itself that, you know, the gems were put upon. So, yeah, and Thanos, which we can't seem to get rid of now.
Well, Thanos was around well
Thanos,
before that.
bleh. Well, yeah, but I had never read a book with him in it before that. So, I'm wondering about No Man's Land and Cataclysm in Batman, though. I didn't read most of them, but I think Gotham's been completely rebuilt and everything's hunky-dory there now. So, I don't know if the consequences of that were really that far-reaching, because it was War Drums that killed Stephanie Brown, and even she's back now, so that didn't count. So, what did that do for us? They rebuild everything incredibly quick, but then right after that, Bruce Wayne, it's the Bruce Wayne fugitive and Bruce Wayne murderer storylines, and then everything just fizzled from there. Really.
Well, there were some flaws definitely where every couple of weeks there was a new event. It was like annuals, but it never stopped.
Right, and it went straight from breaking his back to Azrael taking over to him coming back to Cataclysm and then No Man's Land and then War Drums, and it was a mess. So I don't know that Cataclysm and No Man's Land really had anything lasting running around. Don't know. Not in my view.
Can't say, I mean, Bloodlines, for God's sake, may have been the worst event ever, but it gave us Hitman, which had a much bigger impact than anything I can remember from either of those.
They do still talk about it occasionally. They reference it in a half a word balloon somewhere, but it's not...
Yeah, it created a bunch of heroes that were all chodes.
It does... Chodes? You actually said chode? You were just doing that to see if I was listening. Chodes. House of M, on the other hand,
Huge.
still dealing with the fact from Hawkeye coming back, who was still whining about having been dead at some point.
Scarlet
Still
Witch.
dealing with the Scarlet Witch being a complete nuthatch. Still dealing with the fact that there's no fucking mutants.
Yep, Broken Magneto.
So yeah, that
Yep.
it definitely has. I mean, the Children's Crusade is a miniseries happening now that was a direct result of that. Even though
Wasn't
they
there
delayed it by several
already
years.
a Children's Crusade event? Back in Vertigo?
Vertigo,
Yeah, think back, dude.
Vertigo
with-
comics.
Yeah, with like the Books of Magic and those characters. There, if you go back,
Yeah,
it
but
was
that's a whole different company.
So are we really that sad with it? We steal titles?
Well, you know, what the hell can I tell you about that? I mean, Identity Crisis. Did that matter?
Oh God, yeah. I mean, in terms of, I think in terms of character as much as anything, but the way it affected Elongated Man, who's now dead, as Captain Boomerang, the way people look at everyone.
Well, yeah, it did set a precedent for making the heroes a little more ambiguous. Because if they could do crazy shit to Dr. Light, you know, they clearly then, you know, the first one's the difficult one, you know. So they took, and next thing you know, it's Cry for Justice, and they're off, you know, killing Prometheus,
Yeah.
shit like that. So that's definitely something that still has effects right now. How much longer it'll last? Who knows? I was hoping that the dubiously named Brightest Day would change that back.
But so far,
You know, I was hoping that Brightest Day would be a return to lighter, airier adventure rather than pseudo-philosophical weirdness about having cheeseburgers to find your way back to life. You know, World War Hulk, which you just finished,
Yeah,
by the way.
I'd
just
read
so
it
you
once
know.
before, but
Yeah.
no, I think that World War Hulk. I don't really think that had huge impact. I think that Planet Hulk had huge impact on the Hulk.
Yeah,
I think that World War Hulk was a reaction to that.
yeah. I mean, Amadeus Cho was a big part of that, and he's a fun character.
Yeah, I mean, you know, they introduced Cho, but he has played a smaller part since the death of Hercules. And you also got the fact that, you know...
But they
there's all
gave
sorts
Herc his own book because of it.
which is now canceled, so...
Yeah, and that's unfortunate.
But how big an effect can you have said at that point?
Yeah, it's got to be pretty minimal if, you know, this huge spin-off from the consequences of that event
I've already
went to the
ended.
wayside. So, I don't know that World War Hulk is all that hot shit. Infinite Crisis. Oh my God in heaven. This is a direct correlation to Identity Crisis.
I have not read Infinite Crisis. I can honestly say I know nothing.
You haven't? Oh, shit. Alright, so here's the general nutshell type premise of it. Let's get ready for this because it's fucked
Okay.
up. The pocket dimension that Alexander Luthor, Golden Age Superman, Golden Age Lois Lane, and Silver Age Superboy have been sitting in.
Oh, dear God.
Yeah, it's deteriorating, and Golden Age Lois is dying as a result.
Oh, Christ.
Yes, so Superboy, who thinks everything ever needs to be light and airy and fun and cool, and the heroes are always going to win because the bad guys are morons. He feels that this is incredibly unfair,
Right.
so he punches his way out of the pocket dimension. Lois dies anyway.
Oh, of course.
Because what was punching a dimensional wall going to do for her?
Well, first off, nothing.
Yeah. You know, he's Superboy, not Super Dipshit. He should have known better.
Actually, he is kind of super dipshit.
Oh, no, he became Super Douchebag. He ripped Cyborg's arms off. He killed his way across the multiverse trying to make everything right. Went batshit loco. Almost had everybody on their knees. And they finally took him out, and it was like, oh my god. And breaking through the dimensional portal reinstated the multiverse. Up to 52 worlds. Not the infinite that there was. You know, there's no Earth, super carrot now. I don't think.
I missed that one.
There might be. But either way.
Poor Zoo Crew.
Ah, if only they could come back to us, huh? No.
That's something I gotta find in dollar bins.
One more day. Now, I don't... Stop that right now. I don't know that they would have felt it necessary to revamp and put the kind of talent on Amazing that they did if they didn't have to deal with the fan fallout of what a terrible fucking idea this was. And that's the way I'm seeing it. Fuck it. I'm looking at one more day as a catalyst to get back to what we should have had all along. Even if it was uselessly a result of fan backlash for how pitiful the shit was. It happened, and now we have Dan Slott, and we got Mark Waid, and we got Guggenheim, and we got all these great people working on this book now.
So, in your opinion, this was hugely meaningful because it was so bad that it makes for a much better book now.
Exactly.
Intriguing.
It's a fucked up way to have to put it, to be required to say it in quite that fashion is just
so maybe what's
hurtful to me.
Maybe what's happening in Batman right now will result in... Well, no, they've got pretty good name talent on it right now.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate thing about Batman. Now, this one's too early to tell.
What's up?
These guys are saying that Final Crisis is the number one important crossover that mattered.
No, I'm sorry.
It's not recent enough to make that decision.
Infinite
it's
Earth
not
is.
old enough to make that decision. Just because there's a bunch of big shit in the last 24 issues of the books affected by it doesn't mean that 5 years from now any of that crap's going to matter.
Yeah, I mean, we just discussed World War Hulk is already, fading. These are the issues,
And, Secret Wars was 26 years ago.
And all it really...
it truly gave us was Venom,
yeah.
Aside from really good memories. But, Batman killing Darkseid with the Radion bullet, and Darkseid issuing out the Omega Sanction. It's just another storyline. I mean, I don't think the brouhaha that everyone was making about Batman shooting a gun was that big a fucking deal considering the circumstances. I think that if he knew he was going to die and the one way he had to save the universe was to shoot a gun, like he did, I don't think he would balk at that decision.
I think he would. I mean, because the whole theory with Batman is that there's always another way.
The Omega beams were on their way to him. There was no other way.
But I mean, that's the way the character's always been written, is that there is always another way. Like, if you go back to that World's Finest miniseries I was obsessed with.
That is when the writer allows another way to be available.
But that's what the writer should have done. This is what happens when you when a writer lets Batman shoot somebody. When a writer lets Spider-Man kill somebody. Like, these are not the things. You have to respect what's gone before you as well. Like, when you start throwing things out the window to equate a story that won't last.
So you're now truly starting to feel my pain of Morrison.
No, I don't dislike Morrison as a writer. I'm just saying, like, so far...
That was his story. Final Crisis was his story. Anyway.
But, he's still a talented writer. I'm not knocking the guy at all. I'm just saying that you have to respect to a certain degree. Like, you can fuck with a character, but when you fuck with a character that's been around for 60-odd years, sooner or later it's probably going to revert back to what came before.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you would hope. Because they don't, the whole reason that they've lasted 70 years, 75 years, however many decades, is they have, in fact, gone on these amazing tangents that didn't really fit, and they've come back around and, boom, went to the core, went to what the character truly was, and just told good stories after that.
Yep.
Yeah, we'll cycle through again. I mean, it's irritating to be watching it happen from that meta viewpoint right now, but it'll swing around.
Well, almost every book right now is pissing on a character. So, like, that's what's driving me insane about comics right now, is that everybody wants to crap on their past.
Well, I think
Green Arrow living in a giant fake magical forest.
Well, the other thing is I think we got too many writers who were fans when the whole deconstruction thing began, so now they want to throw their twist on deconstructing characters.
Not everybody's Alan Moore, man. Not everybody can be Miracle Man.
I know.
Sometimes you just gotta let a guy punch another guy in the face and call it an issue.
Sometimes you do. I fully agree with that. I got no problem with that. You be careful with it. Throw some dialogue in there that makes fucking sense. None of this Morrison Final Crisis dialogue.
You and your Morrison.
Like I said, I reread some of that JLA stuff that he did,
yep,
and I still enjoyed it, just like I remembered.
Okay.
I enjoy fucking with Morrison because it annoys other people who love Morrison. There are things, when I read a dialogue bubble of his that has a sentence in it that didn't relate to anything else that was going on in the entire fucking book, that does irritate me. But grand scope, grand schemes, I can see the broad strokes of where he wants to go and what he wants to do, and I dig on that. But sometimes his execution kind of irritates, and it's just, bleh. Well, you right there. I mean, that was his book. Final Crisis was his book, and that's what he had Batman do in it. But
I'm not going to disagree with that. I understand why people might see it necessary, but to me, you just don't. It's like Cap just picking up machete and hacking at people. It's like, come on! There's no circumstance.
Well, that's another thing that I've mentioned before that has irritated me about Cap. It was fine and dandy for him to blow people away on the battlefield, but anywhere else, no matter what happens, and suddenly it's verboten to do anything but arrest them.
But you know what? That's why he's Cap, because it's not on the battlefield. That's why he's a super soldier. And
okay.
with that,
we're calling it even. Have a good night, kids.
Bless you, fuckers.
The Mean Geek is recorded live at the Reverend Mad Duck's apartment whenever the hell we can get to it. You can find us on iTunes, Podcast Alley, Facebook, Comic Space, our own site, www.themeangeek.com. Subscribe to us through RSS, and most importantly, find us as a proud member on the Comics Podcast Network. Contact us directly through email at themeanergeek@gmail.com.